What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Hardcover Hooligans podcast, the only show on the internet where white guys talk about stuff. Today, we are returning to the world of the Canticle for Leibowitz. As always, I'm here with Danilo. Danilo, how are you?
I'm doing good. I think listeners should know that it's been a hilarious amount of time since we recorded part one. For you on your feed, it'll probably be the standard 2 weeks, but we also haven't released anything in a little bit.
Yep, our bad.
Know that. Whatever. That's not our job.
We do it for fun. We do it for the love of the game. And as you heard in the previous episode, we're here with the lovely Sarah. Sarah, how are you today?
Ooh, I'm good. I'm excited. I like this part.
All right, that's good. I'm glad you like this part. And Danilo, I have a question for you.
Oh, okay.
If you had to live in either the Texark territory, right? Isn't that what it's called?
Texarkana? I think it's
called Texarkana.
Yeah.
Or
which has a mayor, by the way. And
it does. It does
he's
have
a mayor.
He's a mayor. Or that other the
Empire of Denver.
Yeah. No, San Leibowitz, that little town. Which one would you pick?
You know, it's funny. You just said San Leibowitz out loud, and it only now occurred to me that that's a play on Saint Leibowitz.
Seriously?
I literally cannot believe that went entirely over my head the whole time reading the book. I'm like, there must be some sort of meaning in that. Oh, well, I guess we'll never know.
Well, good. We're off to a good start.
That's hilarious.
We're off to a good start.
You know, can we add the third option? Can I live in the Abbey? I feel like I'm...
Yeah, you could. He might not let you in unless you want to man the walls and kill dudes, you know.
I'd be a monk. I feel like my life is very monk-coded. I could be a monk.
Oh, yeah, you have that funny haircut. I mean,
yeah.
Mostly
You're wearing
bald.
A hoodie with a hood.
Big bald patch. Yeah, hood.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, you want to jump right in, shall we?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's do it. So the first part was called Fiat Homo, which is takes place in the past. I mean, it all takes place in the future, but it takes place. This book takes place over 3 periods of time: the past, the present, or the Renaissance. It's okay.
So yeah, part 1 I think is like the year 2500.
Right, which is this world's like Dark Ages.
Right, because there was a nuclear apocalypse.
Yeah,
it's 600 years after the nuclear apocalypse is the first part.
Yeah,
which if you're going from year 0 in real time is where the Dark Ages start to happen.
Yeah.
But now we are in sort of the it's hundreds of years later again. So none of the characters who were in the first part are in this part. That monk who got shot in the head with an arrow is not in this because he died. But
because he got shot in the head with an arrow.
Yep. There is one character who pops up again.
Ooh, I wonder who it is.
But yeah, so this is, in this world, is like the Renaissance has started. The Dark Age is over, and the Renaissance has started.
Yeah, they're like rediscovering knowledge, like kingdoms are starting to form. Whereas like in the last part, it was more like just wild tribesmen, and then this like one abbey where they like wrote stuff.
Yep.
And like preserved things. And part 1 is Fiat Homo, which means let there be man. And part 2 is Fiat Lux, which means let there be light.
God, wouldn't you kill to drive a Fiat Lux? Huh?
That's a Fiat with leather seats.
Yeah, oh my God, that's a good
It's
package.
a really bright Fiat.
LED Fiat.
So we're right away we're introduced to this weird guy whose name is Thon Thaddeus. Now, Sarah, who is Thon Thaddeus?
He's like the scientist of the time. Think of any famous scientist from science class. Newton, Galileo. He represents that sort of thing. Yeah,
he gives me like a Francis Bacon vibes. Like he's sort of like a multidisciplinary, but like he's like starting in the foundations of science sort of stuff.
And he's introducing a new line of thinking to this world, which has been primarily like there's the political realm and there's the religious part that has so much influence, and then he's like, and then now we have science too.
Yes.
It's very interesting.
And so he is sent, or he really wants to go to the Abbey because there's information. The Abbey is holding on, or it's believed that the Abbey is holding on to some new sciences or documents.
Yeah,
new old sciences. Some documents that the scientists of the age do not have access to. And but the Abbey doesn't really want him there because they are a religious order founded all around, and this is important because it's not really in the first part, around St. Leibowitz, who, what's his name? Walter? That's not right. The first guy? From the first chapter who died?
Francis.
Who Francis found the grocery list and the head with the gold tooth in it and the fallout shelter, and so this is hundreds of years in the future. And so that religion, it's the same Abbey from the first part, but now...
And importantly, Leibowitz is now like officially a saint, because in the last section, it was like they were like petitioning his sainthood to the Pope, but now like he is a saint in the Catholic Church.
And that
this Jewish scientist
yes.
in the Catholic Church now.
Yes.
And they named the town after him, San Leibowitz.
San Leibowitz. I can't.
Which Danilo didn't realize.
I cannot believe.
Well, I think it's okay. It's one of those things you just read and you're like, oh, you're not like saying it out loud. Like,
I still can't believe I didn't pick that.
Well, yeah, you should be embarrassed, and we should stop doing the show.
I'll go. Yeah, I'll do a quick like Da Vinci Code 20 lashes on my back.
Yeah,
and then
there you go.
Back.
Just a quick.
Yeah, we'll
20.
be right back. We got a lash.
We'll be right back. I'm gonna have a bloody back.
There's another guy there. The chapter starts with I don't remember his name, and he's not in the rest of it. But
Marcus Apollo. I think.
Marcus Apollo, who's he
is
is
emissary of sorts,
and he does not really. He's trying to. He writes a letter to the abbot, like a coded letter to the abbot, trying to warn him that Don Thaddeus is maybe not coming under the best pretense, which we do sort of find out to be true by the end of it, but Don Thaddeus is actually sort of a nice guy, and the soldiers sent with him do something mischievous, but then he writes they're wrong.
Yeah, because there's this whole political background, which sort of doesn't really matter, but maybe it sort of matters at the end, where it's like the king of Texarkana or whatever. Isn't he like brothers with this?
He's
Don
brothers
Thaddeus
with Don
guy?
Thaddeus,
yeah. Where he's like in charge and he's trying to consolidate power, and it's
he's an idiot. Like he's not. He can't read. He can't write because he thinks he's like too good for it.
Yeah, so there's sort of like background, like this war is imminent, and they're sending this emissary to the Abbey, and it's this like warlord's brother, and so there's this whole. Is he really here for the science? You know, is he just doing other stuff? And the answer might be both.
Yep.
Yeah, the first line of part 2, like the war, in terms of the war being, or not the war, the political part being important, it's like important in a far away sense. But the first line is, Marcus Apollo became certain of war's imminence the moment he overheard Hannigan's third wife tell a serving maid that her favorite courtier had returned with his skin intact from a mission to the tents of Mad Bear's clan. You get thrown right in there.
And none of that really matters. It's also funny that, I don't know if we talked about this last time, like the other book that Walter Miller wrote was like a political action thriller in Texarkana with like the Horse King or whatever, and it's like, I don't care about that at all.
No, it matters in like setting the tone for the book, where it's like we're in the midst of the Renaissance and like all of these things are happening all together at the same time, and it's gonna have implications for the future, but like it doesn't, you don't need to know the details of it, you just have to have the sense of
I'm not like, I wish there was an adventure novel about like,
I know
courtier's
and that's also
husband.
not like none of this, but like Miller does not succeed at being like exciting in the moment. It's like he's very smart and is talking about very smart ideas, but if you told me that like it is like an action like fantasy novel, it's like I don't really know if that's your bag, pal. Like I feel like this is really where you thrive is in a book like this.
And I think if you don't have like there is like 500 to 1,000, like I think it's almost 500 in each section, like a time jump. I think if the book does not have time jumps, it's boring and horrible. Like the part of the reason that it's so compelling is the differences between all these eras and what's happening, and like these snapshots.
As I said before, I have not finished. But the two people here have read the whole book. That's correct, right? Mm-hmm. And I have not. But I mean, you'd have to be a fucking idiot to not realize that, at least, like, by this point, that the book is going to end the same way the book starts, which is a horrific nuclear apocalypse or something, because it's about the cyclical nature of violence. I don't think Walter Miller is the most subtle writer in the world, especially not in this book, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. It's compelling, and it's fun to see people make, terrible decisions, because it's not I was going to say it's not happening to us, but actually
no, but it works because he's so like authentic with his characters, and like the conversations that they have, and like the relation, like everything that's happening, I think is a really perfect example of show don't tell. Like he's never like shoving it in your face of like, and this is the scientist and he thinks this and this because he's a scientist. It's just like the things that Thon Thaddeus says and does are the things that a scientist would do, and then that's how you like can grasp what's happening. And so it's not subtle, but it's really done good. Well in like a way that there's a lot to say.
Compelling. It's compelling.
And I think the stylization is like super unique. Like the whole idea of like, this is a sci-fi book and it starts when there's no technology. Like, and then halfway through they invent a light bulb, and like that's the technology, And I think that's super interesting, and like placing it in the context of like a far future where we've lost all the technology.
And you said light bulb. That's sort of what this whole section revolves around, is that upon arriving at the Abbey, Thon Thaddeus finds this hilarious machine operated by like six lunatics who
on a bike, and like
just like to make what they've made is an arc lamp, so it's really bright. And the idea is like, obviously, like it was when the lamps were created to replace torches, but it's not sustainable right now. A guy like the monks. The lesser monks keep going like blind by trying to operate this machine, because you have to be staring into the light the whole time and actively adjusting it. There's like people holding it up. There's somebody like biking, powering it the whole time, and so you
like
can't like keep it on. But Thon Thaddeus
they did it.
Right. That they did it, and that the guy there, didn't. Brother Cornhower, he is probably just as smart as Thon Thaddeus, but he's like a man of the cloth, and he's not. Thon Thaddeus invites him out. He's like, "Hey man, we could probably invent some crazy shit together." And he's like, "Yeah, but I love Jesus Christ so much. Like, I don't think I can do that, buddy.
I've pledged myself to this life."
Yeah. So Thon Thaddeus is there to study the memorabilia, which is, a real like it's all the ancient texts and documents and scrolls
that which survived the apocalypse.
Yeah.
And had they found more stuff in the bunker? Because I feel like in the previous section
they have like
about Francis, like they just found like it was like 3 electrical schematics and then like a grocery list, but it seems like there's a lot more stuff now that they've found in the in the 500 years since that discovery.
Because I would imagine a lot of that stuff down there is because I know there are like spaceships and stuff in the next section, and like they're on different planets already. A lot of that I would imagine stems from what they found in these vaults, because it was the actual information that society had at the time, and Thon Thaddeus could be responsible for like getting it all, and because the Abbey doesn't want to let go of it, maybe because they don't want anything to horrible and bad to happen again.
Well, they have it comes later, so I'm gonna hold on to that. Danilo, you go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I think one of the parts I thought that was really interesting was like with Thon Thaddeus talking to like Brother Cornhower or whatever, like how they did this, like whatever this like electricity thing is, like implied in all these documents, because like if you're working with electricity and so ubiquitous, like they never wrote down like electricity is this thing and this is how you generate it. And so like this was all like theoretical for Thaddeus, but then like the brother was like, oh, I sort of filled in all these blanks about like what was implied by all this memorabilia and was able to figure out like what this thing is. Yeah. And I thought that was super interesting.
And that's something. What is it in the Farseer trilogy? We talked about it too. They talk about like you wouldn't write down what a horse is because everybody knows what a horse is. But if all the horses disappear, then you wouldn't know. Like if somebody found it, nobody would have any idea. So it's like the same.
Yeah, I think it was like the elderlings. Like they didn't know what an elderling was because there was no
because they were everywhere.
Of it.
Like you wouldn't have to say anything.
Like everyone saw them, and so no one like thought to describe what it looked like. Yeah.
And so, so this guy fills in. He wants to fill in the blanks, which of the memorabilia, which might not be smart for the good of humanity, but
yeah.
Alas, we meet again. They keep talking about this old man who lives on this mountain, and right away you're like, okay, so this guy is thousands of years old because it's the same. This is the guy from before. The abbot Dom Paulo goes to visit him, and he wants his like sage wisdom and advice, and I love this part. They're up like having this argument on the mountain, and he's sort of letting it slip a little bit that he really is like 3,000 years old, and he's been wandering the desert. This is what I mean when I talk about it's not the most subtle book in the world. The book is all about religion, and there's this immortal man wandering the desert, looking for. He's waiting for somebody.
Well, he's looking for a savior. He says.
Yes. Well, this is I was looking this up. The literary trope or mythical figure of the wandering Jew, which is very common in medieval times, where like. This Jewish guy was cursed to be on the earth until the second coming, which, problematic maybe, but like is like a figure in European Catholicism, I think.
It doesn't come from nowhere where you're like, what the hell, Walter?
Why is this old guy involved in everything, waiting around? Yeah.
Well, and it's very biblical too. Like that's the Jewish people had to wander the desert for many, 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 many years, and that's what he.
40. Somebody told me 40. Somebody told me it was 40.
I believe so.
I've heard around town.
Someone told you.
Yeah, somebody told me that. In the background of all this, there's like war is brewing, but for the. Like, I find that to be the least interesting part. Like, I understand it's like war is happening and war is bad, but it's like, there's like there's like there's no chapters, but there are like page breaks. And so there's like a page break where we meet that like tribe captain, and just has like this insane
Mad
scene.
Bear?
Yeah, the Mad Bear, and he's just like insane because he's captured. On Don Thaddeus' way to the Abbey, he's like captured them and killed some of their party, and he's just like he
only drinks blood.
He drinks blood, and he only eats meat. He's on that Joe Rogan carnivore diet, and so he's
the
a
liver
cool
king.
guy.
He's like the liver king.
He's the liver king of Texarkana.
He is the liver king. And so the liver king has this like weird, funny scene, and I believe it's meant to be like. Because we meet people like this in the past in the other section, but they're like actual mutants because it's still so soon after the nuclear apocalypse. The people who kill Francis, don't they have like 2 heads or they got like 4 arms? There's like something.
There's stuff like that.
There's nuclear mutant people who are.
But
there's
now
still some of that.
Right, but now instead of the mutant, like everybody can be like, well, the mutant monsters are evil. Now it's like, oh, these are human beings who have made this decision. They're not just like wandering the desert like zombies. That these are real people, and so it's I believe it's showing that like there's different kinds of violence happening in this book. It's happening explicitly with Mad Bear. He drinks blood. He listens to JRE, and the violence of Don Thaddeus is different. It's like subtle and some could say more evil, because at least Mad Bear is on it. He's like, hey man, I love killing. I love drinking blood. But Don Thaddeus wants to like build a nuclear bomb just to like see what
just
could
to
happen.
try it. What if they just tried
it's
it?
like it's the
Yeah.
whole. He like really embodies the like, progress as like an inherent good or like neutral, and like he's the brother of like the horrible despot. So it's like maybe he truly believes that, but like
because he's like, I don't like my brother, but I work for him.
But I'll do what he says. And that's like what's so brilliant, I think, about this part in particular, because you feel like the pressure and like of what's gonna come from this political turmoil. Like you're like, oh well, this probably won't end well, even without knowing all of the details. And then you have these two camps of people, these two groups of people who act as if they can do nothing about it. Like Don Thaddeus, he's like, oh, well, I'm just resigned to my work, and like, what can I do about it? Like, oh, I want to have my school, and if I oppose Hannigan, then I can't have my school, and I can't have what I want. And so he washes his hands of it. And then you have the Abbey, and they're so focused on studying the memorabilia, preserving the memorabilia, that they don't involve themselves in the things that have actual consequences on the lives of the people in this world. Right, so there's just these two ways of thinking, but neither of them do anything to prevent what comes next.
Yeah, or they're like two. It's like two halves of the puzzle, where like the Abbey is like, our role is to like conserve knowledge, but like Don Thaddeus is like, oh, I want to use knowledge, and those are sort of like at odds with each other, because like
they have that whole They have that whole argument.
That argument is one of the best things I've ever read.
Yeah,
I think we probably all have notated the same. Maybe we just read it now.
Yeah. You should.
Yes,
Since we're talking about like this is the central tension in this section is Don Thaddeus wants to use knowledge, and the Abbey wants to like preserve it for some future. Like they don't know. Like that's their role in society is to like just keep it.
Because they don't want what happened before to happen again, and so if they just keep it safe and don't let it be used, then nuclear war can't happen. But then
they also don't know what happened. Like, was
right, they
it
don't
a
know
result
it's
of technology?
Right.
They're like, the birds rained fire from the sky, and the princes had weapons, and you're like, I don't know, what does that have to do with like this grocery list?
Right?
And like we know, but they don't know.
Because the other argument is like, there's probably documents in there about like penicillin and vaccines, and it's like, well, that's the good stuff, and if you just take all the stuff, you're like, oh my god, like, because the course of human history, everything led to another thing. Like they didn't accidentally create a nuclear bomb. That science is built on this, all the science that came before it, like both good and bad. It's just the march of progress. Like,
Well, and none of the characters have any context for that. Like they can't be like, oh, this will lead to this,
Right.
Or, if we create electricity, that also means we could create a nuclear bomb. Like they have no idea of any of that because they've lost that connection with what happened before.
And that's why Don Thaddeus' argument is so compelling, because he's like, this could really make a difference, and like this could make our lives better. But the Abbey, like, they have their apprehensions, and that we have to also talk about the retelling of the story of Job in chapter 18, like when they do that whole homily where they're talking about, or they're reading the story of Job from the Bible, and then it changes, and the ending is different, and it becomes about the flame deluge. And like the way that they retell it is brilliant, because it's like, oh my gosh, this is what religion does, and this is what the purpose of religion is in this world. It mythologizes the truth in order to like teach a moral lesson to these people, and that moral lesson is don't share the knowledge.
Do you want to explain that in more detail? Because I read that and forgot about it. So the details.
It's on,
because we all know the story of Job.
18. Yes.
I mean, do we all know the story of Job, Mac?
I do.
Yeah. He had a
We'll
bunch
link it in
of
the
stuff, and
description
then
if you
God
don't
took
know
it
the
away
story
to
of
test
Job.
him because
He had
was
the
like,
worst.
he's not loyal to
He had
you.
the worst day ever. This guy.
Yeah, Job's big, horrible worst
One
day
day.
ever.
Yeah.
But in this version of Job, it's like about how the princes of earth had hardened their hearts against the law of the Lord. And the Lord tried to humble them, but they were not humbled. And then they, like, I think a part that's really good is this little paragraph. And Satan spoke unto a certain prince, saying, Fear not to use the sword, for the wise men have deceived you in saying that the world would be destroyed thereby. Listen not to the counsel of weaklings, for they fear you exceedingly, and they serve your enemies by staying your hand against them. Strike, and know that you shall be king over all. And, like, there's a lot. It's sort of that way of writing, biblical way of writing.
I love
But they're
that
telling
shit.
the story of the princes of men being those who caused the flame deluge.
Which, just to spell it out, the presidents and leaders of the world.
Yes.
If there's any
Yeah, not the Prince
not
of Canada.
real prince.
No. But the way they, like, frame it in this very biblical way, right, to teach this lesson, and I just think it's so clever. And, like, so, it's like, oh, duh, of course you do that. But I just think it's so clever and smart.
It's actually the idea for this book seems so obvious. Like, this is exactly the kind of book where I'm like, God, how did I not fucking think of that?
I
Like,
know.
that's so good. Like, I love this book because I think to tell this story is so, in the way that he does it is so smart and so compelling. 'Cause, I mean, we already talked about it, but if this was like a character drama, this is okay. This is not a character-driven story.
No.
We talk about that sometimes. It's like a lot of books, most books you probably read are character-driven stories. This is not. Like, it does not matter what these people's names are. They all exist to embody some sort of idea. Almost like Everyman. Like, that's
Like an
the morality play.
or,
Yeah,
those morality plays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a
Which I think is
cautionary
because
tale.
those are all Christian,
Right.
like Catholic, not propaganda, but like Catholic like instructional stuff too. You know, where every character is like, this is an idea, and this is what I represent, and I'm going to talk to a person who represents another idea, and we're going to talk, and then we're going to drink some blood in the desert or something.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
like,
exactly.
They're all ideas, and the way that they're represented is like so perfect to me. Like, I love the way that everybody is represented in this book because it's like you see, somehow you get the flaws and the strengths of like each way of thinking, right? By like having Thon Thaddeus there and the things that he says and does, you're like, oh, the scientific way, it can be so good. And then also you're like, oh, but he's so, what's the word? He's not arrogant, but he's just like a little bit short-sighted.
He's kind of arrogant.
He's
kind of
arrogant
an
and he's
asshole.
short-sighted, and it's like, then you have the religious aspect or like the religious point of view, and the way that those characters are portrayed, you're like, oh, and they have like strong morals and they're trying to do the right thing, but they're also so short-sighted, and it's like they could so easily work together and do something good, but because they're so focused on their differences, they can't get along, and it leads to trouble.
Can't we all just get along, guys?
Can't
We just all
come
get
on.
along.
Why can't we
Just
be
put
friends?
aside our
No.
differences and get along. Anyway, that made me think of like because these are very, I mean, they're not like they're pretty flat characters, sort of.
Yeah.
You know, they're like sci-fi, but they never like felt like that. I think part of the reason is like the sections are short enough that like they're not too long. It's not so long that you're like, oh my god, I get it with this character. You know,
Like you
they're
couldn't
long
spend
enough.
you couldn't spend the whole book with Thon Thaddeus.
Right, because I was thinking
It
about
doesn't work.
No.
the main
Yeah.
issue we had with like Three Body Problem is like the whole novel is like these paper thin characters moving around, and then by the
Yeah.
end I'm like, oh my god, I'm sick of all these people, and that's
Yeah.
like a really drawback, I think. When I think
I think that's a drawback of science fiction. Like there
Yes,
are
yeah.
so much science fiction. Like Philip K. Dick is maybe the most famous bad writer in this regard, because you're not reading a Philip K. Dick novel to be like, man, I love Rick Deckard's dialogue. You're like, no, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep is like an interesting work in and of itself. There's only like 2 Philip K. Dick books where the characters, in my opinion, the characters like steal the show and are on full display. And I think that's with science fiction as a whole, that's a problem you run into. And so if you're not bought in on the ideas like we weren't with, I mean, we were at first pretty on board with Three Body Problem, but like when they just explain the hell out of it, like that's a classic. Yeah. That's like my least favorite thing in science fiction. But this book is just explaining, like, this works in such a way that I think Three Body Problem doesn't, because of the structure of the book. Like you were saying, it's not, the whole book isn't spent at the Abbey arguing about technology. It's like, okay.
It's part of that because it's this, he's telling the story of man, right?
Yeah.
This whole book. And so those little things matter, but they matter in the context of the broader 3-part book in its entirety.
And thinking that, like, not every book or every story has to have 3-dimensional characters, but I think to the point, like this, like, you can have, flatter characters as long as it, like, doesn't get in the way of, like, someone reading it, because that's, like...
And the ideas are
the
strong
ideas
enough.
are the... And, like, complex enough. It's not like, this character represents A, and they only talk about A, and this character represents B, and they only talk about B,
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Because, Lord of the Rings also isn't, like, Pippin is not an interesting character. Like, he's there, like, none of them really are. They're there, they're not characters.
Yeah, like, Aragorn is just
ideas.
Jesus Christ. Like, it's not like
but they serve the point being
They serve
made.
the narrative.
Yeah.
In a compelling way.
And speaking of characters who steal the show, there's somebody that we haven't mentioned yet who I love.
Who?
Somebody with a funny glass eye, perhaps?
Oh, that's right.
This guy.
Yes.
I have no idea what to make of this character, so I think
my gosh.
Well, I know
love
you
him.
have to take the lead.
Yeah, go ahead.
What do I think of him?
Yeah.
Well, I think what is really great about the poet.
The poet
Sarah. Yeah,
yes. Oh, the poet. We didn't say. We just teased you a little bit. But yes. So we have Thanathio, who's like science, right? And then we have Dom Paolo, who's religion, and then you have the poet
who wants to fuck.
And I think, and the poet is like the artist.
Yeah.
And what's so great about him is he's like not tied to any one method or any one way of thinking or being. He's just like a little chaotic guy causing trouble. But the things that he says and does are like, he's like a different way of approaching the world. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and when you said something to me when, like, the other day, when he dies at the end, he like he sees this like soldier brutally kill this woman with a dull blade, and he was like hiding from the soldiers, but it makes him so angry he jumps out and kills one and like gets shot in the tummy right away, and then is like left for dead and bleeding out. And you were saying it's like after the death of art, when art doesn't exist anymore and it's just progress, like scientific progress, then we're fucked. As like the world becomes terrible again.
Well, because there's that part where they're all at the Abbey and like things are getting
Is
more
this when they're
tense.
at dinner?
We'll get to dinner. I think maybe it might
Getting
actually.
his
We'll
foot
get
stomped
to
off.
dinner.
We'll get to dinner. No, maybe it's after, but there's a quote. I wrote it down. Let me find it. On page 207, Dom Paolo, because he like doesn't love the poet. He's like, oh, this guy's kind of annoying. He eats my food. He hangs out. He brought a goat. Like, I don't like this guy. But the poet leaves at a certain point, and he just up and leaves. And Dom Paolo is like, when the poet leaves, that's a bad sign. And part 2 ends with the poet's death. And so it's like everything is sort of foreshadowing perhaps what's to come. And when you take away art and like the magic that art brings to the world, and you only have this like religion and science, like where's the life in that,
or the middle ground? Because like if religion is only focused on like the only thing they know how to do is like keep things the same, and like that has like clearly for the last 500 years in this book like had its usefulness, like that has been like a good thing, but like when that stops being when that's impossible, then like what do you do with that? Because they only
Right.
know how to like be, you know, conservative in the like the small c, you know,
Yeah.
Right.
sense of the word.
Well, that's what's so great about how they work together. If only they could. But they didn't. But like you need science. Thontadio needs his science to be grounded in morals, and it's not. And the Abbey needs their religion to have, like, they need science to ground their religion, because otherwise it's just like folly. And you see a lot of that in the book, where it's like you're just sort of, oh, you think that's this because of the grocery list, right? Or you think this is real because Francis got shot in the head. But it's like, how do you know that any of that is actually real or grounded in the world?
Or we tell these stories that have this meaning, but like we've lost the context about like why this like why that's a good thing, like why we don't share information willy-nilly, you know, like they don't know why, because all that history's been forgotten or like abstracted into this like, and the metal birds sent by the princes like and no one has any context for that. Like that's how those lessons have been transmitted, but they can't connect it to like what actually happened.
And the way the poet fits in, right? If you have the science to ground your morals and the morals to ground or to guide your science, you need the artist there to question things and to give them spirit. And like that's what the poet does, is he's constantly questioning both of them, and he teases them about the scapegoat. There's a goat, right? I mentioned his goat. He got a goat from Benjamin, the wanderer, and he makes a joke about
wait, hang on, sorry, just quickly. Does this goat make magic milk, or was he joking?
I don't know.
Because they mentioned, he's like, you know, this goat, if you milk it, it gets magic milk. And then there's like, what? And then it just moves on. Yeah, but Benjamin is like, no, he's right. It's my magic goat. No, they both say it. Benjamin is like,
I don't remember that.
I swear to you, Benjamin's like, that's my goat who has the magic milk. And it's like, what? Like, is everybody just insane? Because he says something like, yeah, the goat's why I've been alive for 3,000 years. And like,
that's so funny.
Benjamin says it like sardonically, like not joking. And I was like, are you joking? Or maybe I'm just losing my mind and I misread it. Anyway,
that sounds like something Benjamin would say as a joke.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
If you read it, maybe you can tell us if he was serious or not. Because
maybe the goat's milk is the key to all this.
It's actually propaganda for goat's milk.
Propaganda
Big goat's milk.
Oh gosh, what was I gonna say?
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, the scapegoat. Oh no, you're fine.
Yeah, the literal scapegoat.
And he makes a joke about, like, they're at dinner and he's teasing Thontadio about his scapegoat, and then he also teases Don Paolo about the scapegoat. And it's like they both absolutely do have scapegoats. Like in religion they use Jesus.
Yeah.
He's their scapegoat or the devil. He's also the
he's
scapegoat. He's their scapegoat. Yes, right. You have both of them to like blame anything bad that happens so that you can remove responsibility from yourself. And same with Thontadio. He uses excuses all the time. I had also
he's working. Down. He's working for his brother. He's like, sorry, man. Like,
it's like Paul. Like I have to. Or like, I'm just a curious guy trying to figure out. What's true,
It's literally. You know? I'm just asking questions. I'm just asking
literally
questions.
That. No, yeah, and he uses science to escape responsibility in the name of like, the freedom to speculate. I can just speculate.
If only Leibowitz had printed out Twitter and put it in the Fallout shelter, we could have avoided all this.
I know.
But it's like that.
The Everything app.
The Everything app. But that's like, it goes back to how it's these two groups of people who are like, there's nothing I can do. But you actually can. And we watch them miss it. And we watch them not do anything. And we watch them fail to act. And it has devastating consequences.
And that's going back to like, if that scapegoat stuff was in any other book, I would be like, oh my fucking god. But like somehow here, I think it really works. Like, yeah, it's obvious and whatever. Like, I don't know if he needs to say, like, the poet needs to be like, well, you can blame the goat on everything, like you've been doing with your religion. It's like, yeah, I get it, but it works because the book is about these ideas, and it's just like, if he is the artist who's his whole thing is he's asking questions, and it makes sense for him to say stuff like that. I kept being shocked reading this section of like how many things in this book I would be not liking if it was in another book, and I've yet to put together why it works so well for me here.
Well, it's so real.
Well, and it's, I think, Walter Miller, very, very, I think, Catholic to the end. And, I think
Is that
ultimately,
true?
I think so. Yeah.
Was he like? I mean, but was he like a devout guy?
I think he was pretty
his
devoutly
life?
Catholic through his whole life, which I think you can only write this sort of book if you are.
Yeah.
Like, there's
For sure.
there's even more Latin in this section than in the Latin section.
There's
I know.
a lot. You're gonna want to pull out your
It's
Google
a lot of
Translate
church Latin.
for real.
Yeah, pull out your Latin dictionary, folks. I was gonna say, I think I think the strength is like it questions everything. Like, I think it's sort of like ultimately, I think this book is probably more pro-religion than anti-religion in certain ways. But I think one of the strengths is like it does really question if religion's role is to like preserve lessons for the future or these moral things. Like, if it can't do that, then like what's the point?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of what this section, the next section are like asking.
And
like,
if that's his argument for religion, I'm pretty sure I'm 100% on board with that. Like, if you're just supposed to be like keepers of the knowledge and like, yeah, we believe this stuff, but I mean, everybody's allowed to come in, everybody's welcome, and our main job is to preserve the knowledge of history in such a way to try to prevent catastrophe.
And would that were true, because
Right,
they
I
don't
know,
welcome
right.
everybody.
They
right?
don't.
But
They
it's-
don't. Right away, he's like, yeah, anybody can come, but if you come,
well, they
I'm
don't
gonna
have
ask
the
you to fight.
context. It's like they're just
No,
repeating these
yeah.
stories and making copies of copies of copies just because that's what they've always done. And I think, in a certain way, like, this asking questions about technology and religion, like, I think, in a neutral sense, like, technology and progress and good is good. And in a neutral sense of religion as, like, keepers of morality and spirituality is good. But, like, the fact, like, they are being driven and used, like, by people.
Right.
They're always going to be susceptible to, like, the flaws of humanity,
Right.
So they don't
And
end up being truly neutral in practice.
And in our world, it's not like in the Vatican there's a half-finished document to build some sort of laser beam rifle. It's just like in
Jesus
our
laser.
world, right?
No, they just have the Gospel of Daniel, or
Right.
whatever.
But they
in
just
our
have some
world,
cool
it's like
paintings in there.
they want to. In our world, what they should be keeping is like the lessons learned from the past, and you should be able to go to them and be like, hey, bad stuff is happening now. You have all of these like documents about bad stuff that happened in the past. How can
What do we do?
Yeah, what do we do? Yeah. But in this case, it's
instead
like
they're like protecting pedophiles.
I know. And in this case, it's not just morality. They're also they're holding the world back, literally, technologically, but they're also maybe trying to save it because they don't know.
Well, and there's
They
a
just don't
really
know.
good quote in favor of like the church sharing their knowledge on page 210 and 211. There's two things I'll read, but the scholar is Thontadio, and he says to Dom Paolo, "What you really suggest is that we save it all up for the day when man is good and pure and holy and wise." And he's like essentially saying that's never going to happen. And he's like, well, we haven't withheld anything. And the scholar responds, and he's like, you haven't withheld it, but you sat on it so quietly, nobody knew it was here, and you did nothing with it. And at the very end, he says, if you try to save wisdom until the world is wise, Father, the world will never have it.
Which is the realest shit I ever heard.
That's so.
and it's
oh my
so
God. I think we all
good.
highlighted that.
Yeah,
section.
yeah, yeah.
It's so good
too.
because it's like, he's right.
That's the argument.
You can't save the world will never be wise. But
That's the
also,
argument.
at the same time, Don Paulo is a little bit right too, because if we just share things and if we have this wisdom, will it always lead to our destruction? Like, will it always be the thing that kills us at the same time?
Yeah,
Great question.
In Star Trek, there was a nuclear apocalypse, and everything ended up pretty sweet. So
Ooh, maybe it'll be like that.
all the nations banded together.
Maybe that's what we need.
We do, yeah, we do, and then we can finally have Scotty beam
me
me up or whatever. Yeah.
Or like now, we live in the information age, and like we're at the point where like, 10 years ago it was like, oh, what we need is just more information. But like we've also learned
now we're
like,
no,
that did not solve anything. That just created a bunch of new.
Well,
we need
problems.
way less information. We all know way too much about each other.
yes, we
But
do.
also, we all know that like information isn't neutral, because like you can't go on the internet and find out how to make a nuclear bomb. Like they keep that pretty bottled up.
Yeah. Yes.
But I think also why it works, Mac, to your point of like why it does it not bother me in this book. I think he's really succinct. Like he doesn't try to shove it in your face, and he doesn't try to like make you see. He's like, oh, see what I did there. Like there's none of that.
Yeah.
It's just like, this is what I'm saying, and this is the point that I'm making, and that's it. And so it's really good.
It is really
It's
good.
really good.
It's really good. This is a shorter section. I think it's the shortest. Is that right?
No, I think the third one's actually shortest.
The third one's the shortest.
Yeah. First and second one, I'm just looking at my physical book. The first and the second are almost the same size.
Oh, okay. I only said that because we talked about all the major stuff that happens. The other thing in like the plot of this part, Apollo from the first chapter of this section is he's communicating Hannigan's plans to New Rome, and he gets killed. So Apollo gets killed, and the world is plunging into war, and the church excommunicates Hannigan, sort of like, in real life.
Because a bunch of soldiers come with Thontadio, and they're like...
They're
not literally taking photos of the Abbey, but like that's what it feels like. They're just going out with the camera. And I was like, "What are you taking photos of?" It's like, historical research or whatever.
Yeah.
But they're really because they're trying to
blueprints.
Yeah, they're drawing blueprints because they want to. Whoever's in charge wants to like use the Abbey, like take it over and use it as like an base of operations to like invade something, and then. Like, that gets back to the Pope, and the Pope is like, that's bad. And then Hannigan's like, the Pope's bad. And then there's like this schism, and then war starts. And that's the end of the section.
And Thontadio gives all the blueprints back to the Dom before he leaves, or the Abbot before he leaves. And he's like, listen, I was going to do this anyway, just for the record. I wasn't going to let them leave, but like, since you wanted it. They don't leave on good terms, but they leave. I think they have mutual respect for each other's position and understanding.
They almost had it.
Something that occurred to me as we were talking, I think, isn't there a point where Thontadio says, like, we don't need your memorabilia, but it'd be really helpful. Like, doesn't at some point he say, like, we're going to figure this out anyway? Like, if they figured it out without it. So, like, there's that whole wrinkle to it, too, where, like, if they keep it, like, that's only going to sort of delay the inevitable, So then, like, what are they really doing? I just thought that was an important thing to put in. Yeah.
It's like whether or not it happens tomorrow or in 100 years, it's coming. Yeah. So
but
why don't we just let the band
But if you give me the stuff, then I can do it and get all the glory, which is ultimately, what he wants.
Yeah.
Where's their argument? Because I love that argument.
It's almost at it's just before the very end.
Which argument?
Is that in front of...
I think it's on 219. It's like their argument for the future of the world.
Oh, yeah.
218 and 219.
I have a mass market paperback, so my pages are not equal.
Oh, your pages are different.
Brag.
I bragging that I have a mass market paperback.
It's this the argument we've been referring to the whole time, where they like are discussing their 2 points of view at, I don't know, in the Abbey. Maybe they're at dinner. But they're talking about Don Paulo is talking about the temptation of man in the Garden of Eden, and he's like saying that's what's happening to Thontadio right now, where he's like, you're being tempted by the same knowledge of good and evil, and if you're not careful, like, you are gonna cause the fall of man once again. And Thontadio is like, why are you so stubborn, essentially? And the inciting moment for their argument is that Thontadio comes up with this theory that the flame deluge actually was not caused by men. It wasn't men who created it, but men had succeeded in creating life, and they created another species So they created this subspecies of man, and it's that creature, that like species that caused the war and the flame deluge and like the apocalypse or whatever else. And
isn't that implied that that's like AI? Like that's how I took it. Like
That's
it's
what I
robots
thought.
or artificial intelligence. Like they created a subservient, race or something that eventually tried to overthrow their masters.
A Butlerian jihad, if you will.
Yes.
Yes, for you Dune
For the Dune heads out there.
yeah. But it's so, like, their argument is so good because never have I been like, oh, and they're both right. But I really do feel that way. And John Paulo says something about, like, why do you wish to discredit the past, even to dehumanizing the last civilization? So you need not learn from their mistakes? Or can it be that you cannot bear being only a rediscoverer and must feel that you are a creator as well? And he is just essentially very mad that he keeps trying to shirk responsibility for who is to blame. And like he's like, if we try to attribute the horrors of our past to this other subspecies, like why are you trying to do that? You're trying to push away any blame or responsibility so that you don't have to feel bad about what you're doing with science today in this age. So you don't have to think about the consequences of what your science will cause. Right? If you can just blame it on a different species, then it's not your problem.
And there's also this interesting aspect to like all this argument where it's like, like we have these individual people who like have their actions, but like because of like what the book's trying to say about like the cyclical history and everything, like like what is the role of an individual or group in this? Like if they decide not to do anything, does that mean someone else won't come along or try to do it, or some other part of the world like this will happen? And so it's sort of like, like what can we do in this, like the flow of history? And like I think it's also asking that meta question, which is super interesting. Like, we have power over like our lives and our choices to like a certain extent, but then like on this grand scale, like what will our efforts, what can we affect?
It's all
like
for naught.
if it's like a tide,
Yeah.
it's a tide. Like this is going to happen regardless of what we do or not do. I think it's asking that question too.
It doesn't have to be, guys.
It doesn't have to be. And you can feel that in their argument, but it's like they're so focused on their specific problems and their specific challenges and like these arbitrary things. Like he's like, oh, well, this is my job because I work in the Abbey and this is my memorabilia. And it's like, but that doesn't matter. And it's like Thaddeo's like, oh, I have to do this for my school, this, that, and the other thing. It's like neither of you are doing anything tangible, actually. Right. Like people are suffering and you're arguing about ideas, which yes, ideas matter, but it's like when the chips are down, you gotta act. You gotta do something. Well,
it's like people aren't getting SNAP benefits anymore as of yesterday. As of when we're recording this, not when you're hearing this. But it's like we have people argue, like people aren't getting SNAP benefits, and Peter Thiel is talking about like using AI to better target Palestinians via drone strike, and it's like, dude, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
Like, why does none of this?
You're like you're an evil monster who just wants there to be science. Like you want to make money and you want to make like new technology, but in reality, people are suffering as a direct result of what you're doing. And if you really wanted to contribute to the human race, you would be focused on that and not the march of progress.
Because ultimately, it's like, and we see this played out with them. Like it's like ego disguised as like this greater good thing. Like Taddeo wants to be the one responsible, like wants the credit for the progress. And Don Paulo wants to be like, I'm in charge of this abbey and I want to keep being in charge of this abbey. And, it's
which is important.
Stuff.
Like Taddeo doesn't care. In my opinion, he doesn't care about the science. He cares about the credit because like he wants to show up his brother.
Yes.
And like that's what's important to him is like being the guy. And he doesn't care if he becomes the guy by inventing the nuclear bomb or if he becomes the guy by making a vaccine. Like, his morality isn't bait. Like,
Yeah.
he's out for himself.
And that's why he's so pissed off when Brother Kornhauer invents the arc lamp. He's like, what?
Yeah.
He's like, really?
Yeah.
Like, he's like,
You
I don't know
did
if it's
this and
in
not
there. He's
me?
like surprised that it happened, but then he's also like mad that like this backwards priest did it first with less information and resources than he had.
When if he really cared, he would just be like, that's remarkable.
That's awesome. How'd you do that? Let's talk about it. But it's like, that's what's another thing I love about this book is like, that's where because yes, they are flat characters, but they're so human.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes,
it's humanity,
they have
and
that.
it's like their humanity is their undoing always. It's like that's what gets in the way is our ego, our desire for power, right? Our desire to be in control of whatever it is. And so you make excuses to not act, or you make excuses to ignore so that you can just do the things that you want to do. All else be damned. That's the
But I
Daddy-O
think
Man.
if we had a nuclear bomb, we'd be the good guys.
Yes.
Oh, I
If
could
you
be
give hardcover
yeah.
hooligans
It's
a
called
nuclear
deterrence,
bomb,
pal.
I think we'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, so if any
That's
of you
pretty
out
good
there,
to take away.
if
If any of you
out
want to
there
like
know how make a
Patreon
bomb-
us a nuclear bomb, you know, sort of.
Yeah, I don't really know how that
thing.
stuff
Yeah.
works, but if that works, go ahead and do
Send
that.
us a Venmo for a nuclear bomb.
Yeah. Not a request, a payment for a nuclear bomb.
Yes.
Yeah, if you
Send us a
request, we're
payment.
gonna deny it, no matter how much you remind us.
Don't waste my time. I deny so many Venmo requests every day. I can't keep doing it.
Yeah, but that's what's so great about having it take place like on the brink of Renaissance, because it is the Renaissance, but it's like I feel like it's just about to happen, right? Because he's gathering this information, and it's like we're right on the brink of Renaissance, and it's like already you're feeling, oh, the world is at this tipping point, like we're at this crossroads, anything could come from here, and it's like they make the same mistakes again that people made in the past.
And
to
it's
get
like,
us
and
here.
they don't have that context, and so it's like, you
Right.
know, it's like dramatic irony. That book where like we know, and
really
we
is.
know
It
the
is
whole
dramatic.
thing,
It's really
and
good.
they know, and they don't, and that's like I think a big part of what makes it super readable is like everything the reader knows about the world and history and stuff, and that the characters don't.
Like we can feel what's coming next, but
Right?
they don't.
And they have no idea.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure everything will end up fine. And
Yeah.
well, I mean, I think that's all I have
Yeah.
to say.
There's a lot of good symbolism in there with the lamp and the cross being taken down and a bunch of other stuff. The glass eye.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
There-
the monk gets really pissed off that they have to move the cross to put up an arc lamp. And it's very on the nose.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And then
yes,
when the
it
scientist
is.
leaves, they put the cross back up.
Yep. There is a section I really like where they're in this hall having this argument, and that's when the hermit, who we've learned his name, it's Benjamin, he comes into the abbey and he walks right up to Don Thaddeus and he looks him in the eyes and he's like, all he says is, "You're not him," and then he just turns around and walks out.
Oh, that's right.
Which is awesome. I'm gonna start doing that to people.
It's epic.
Just like spy a guy all the way across the bar, walk right up to him, and be like, "You are not him,"
You
and
are
then
not
walk
him.
away.
It's like John Tucker Must Die. You don't know that reference, but
No.
somebody out there listening will know what I'm talking about. So that was for
Someone.
you, guy.
JTMD, a little John Tucker Must Die.
You don't even know.
Well, guys, I think that brings us to the end of part 2
Yeah.
for A Canticle for Leibowitz. If you enjoyed the episode, please leave us a 5-star review on your podcast platform of choice. That would be, I don't know why you laughed at that. I'm asking. You didn't enjoy the episode?
No, I didn't know. I had no fun.
Yeah, our first guest ever hates this, so we
Yeah,
hope
no, I
you
don't
out
like
there
it.
really like it.
If you want to send us an email, if you have any thoughts about what we've read, you can send us an email to hardcoverhooligans@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram. We have exciting news with our social media presence. It's going to actually be a thing here
We've
because
said
we found
that
some poor bastard.
every episode.
No, I know, but we found
Every
we
time
found a
we're like,
different
okay,
bastard.
so check in because
Yep.
it's about to be good.
I know.
and we've been
But
saying
it-
this for 8 months.
But it is because we got somebody else who
Yes,
was willing
it won't
to do
be
it.
us, which I think
Yes,
that has
because
been
neither of
the
us
key-
want to do it.
That has been the issue, is that we're saying one of
Yes.
us will do it, and clearly that's not been true.
But yeah,
If you like symbolism and lots of talk about ideas, you're gonna like this book.
If you like ideas, you're gonna like this.
I think if you grew up Catholic or you are Catholic, you will love this book.
Yeah, probably.
You'll get a different experience for sure.
You'll get it. Well,
All right.
Thanks for having me, guys. I had
yeah, of
so
course.
much fun.
And you'll be back for the next
For the next
episode.
one.
Ooh,
Part
part 3,
three.
controversial.
Part 3. Oh,
It
yes,
is
I've
probably,
heard.
I think part 3 is the most controversial one.
It is.
I've heard
Yeah.
that people.
But
A lot of people do not like how this book.
And I think
wraps
that
up.
maybe we can look a little harder, and I think we'll see.
Because you do like it. You've told me.
I think
You're on the side of it was good, actually.
Well, I think that maybe it's a little bit misunderstood.
Ooh.
I think having something take place is not necessarily like saying, "Oh, I agree with this," you know.
Oh, we talk about that a lot. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
that's
because it
reading Crime and
happens.
Punishment on the subway and like
Yeah,
shaking your head at the crime and nodding at the punishment.
Yeah, I don't think he's saying, "Oh, this is the right point of view to have." But we'll get to it. So
We'll
come
get to
back
it.
for part 3.
Yeah.
I'll be here.
Well, from all of us here at Hardcover Hooligans, stay hard and stay. Let's think.
I think saying stay Catholic is probably a little problematic.
Stay curious.
Yeah, what is it? I think that's the
I think it's from friendship.
or
Stay
that's
cu-
from I think that's like the tagline of like my university. That sounds like it's like a
Hey, stay curious out there.
stay curious, everyone. Go to the University of Minnesota.